3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, that motor, by the way, is 385 pounds, and it's 20 horsepower, 177 cubic inch, inline 4-cylinder engine. The transmission and the motor was made by Ford from, oh, we're gonna get in. Yes, indeed, there we go. That defines a Model T. That drivetrain, the motor and transmission stayed the same throughout all the years from 1909 to 1927. The front axle and wishbone's going in now, and I just mentioned the Fords were produced from 1908, August, 1909 model through 1927. Many body styles, coupe, 2-door, 4-door closed car, touring. They all had a cloth top, and that was the most popular model. Runabouts, torpedoes, you name it. But this is a mostly donated, parts never met in the factory of this thing. But 65 years ago, members of the club decided what they had in their garage that they could offer, and they assembled it, and we've been working on assembling it ever since. Basically, it's a 1926 pickup. The front wheels and axles are next, and the shackles on the front allow the upper body they connect the spring that holds the upper body and lets it move independently of the wheels. So that's a very important feature of the Model T. On the rough roads back in 1920s, you needed you had a lot of potholes and mud holes that needed those shackles to be working. We're also going to be soon connecting the different parts of the motor. We've got to get the gas connected. We've got to get the ignition connected, and we got to get the lifting rod. Yeah, we've done that. Lifting rod out of the motor, and the spark plug back in its hole. So we've coming along here. Hey, how are we doing in time?
We are at 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
Okay, I heard 1 minute 29 seconds, guys. Pretty good. Let's keep going. Yes, sir. One of the hardest connections in the thing is coming up, and once we get these wheels on, it can lower it back down. There we go. The next thing will be put in the drive shaft and connect it to the transmission, and it has to be positioned just precisely in the rotation for it to fit in properly. So that's a hard one. Also, those brake rods need to be squared away with the jacks so that we can pull the jacks out from under. So that's good news. We got going there. How are we doing? Yeah. I don't know how many of you can see right now the levers that are around the driver's seat there. There are 3 pedals on the floor of this thing, and they control the forward motion of the car. The left pedal is, if you push it all the way in, that's low gear. About halfway out, you're in neutral, so that the motor is disengaged from the transmission entirely. And if you pull it all the way out, then you're in high gear, and you're driving down the road in high gear, so you don't have to have your foot on that pedal. And there we got the coming up, yes. The back wheels are going. My goodness, this is a quick one. How are you doing?
4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Good. There, we're going to make it. Yeah. The brake that Rich Ronick has his hand on there is the emergency brake, and pulled back, that's the brake on, so the car can't move at all. About halfway out is neutral, so that you can work the foot pedal into low gear or put it in reverse, and then when you're driving this normally, you take it and push it all the way forward, and that's how you operate the car with that gear forward. Okay. Pretty soon we'll be putting in the steering wheel, and we'll talk. Notice those three levers on the floor: brake, reverse, and forward gears. There's something missing there from a modern car. What's that?
Gas pedal.
Ah, an accelerator. Yeah, we'll talk about accelerator later on. Okay, we're getting the back shackles attached, so we'll be able to lower it back down again. And the wheels are on, and we'll be able to see the body of this thing going on in a minute. Yeah. 1914, Ford started the moving assembly line, really 13, with the Highland Park assembly plant. Some people credit Ford for inventing the assembly line. That's not really quite true. Ransom E. Olds, whose name carried forward with Rio, R-E-O, and with Oldsmobile automobiles, really invented the assembly line. But his assembly line, they pulled the car along a rope to the guys that were along the side putting on pieces. But Ford invented actually the mechanical assembly line at Highland Park, that the assembly line moved and the stationary people on the side did it. Okay, now we got the body coming on, and this is a dangerous thing for the folks. Watch your shins, people. Those outriggers for the running boards are difficult to get around, and you have to make sure you don't hit your knee on them. Oh yeah. Good job. Over the brake. Good job. And we're down, yeah. Excellent, yes. At that Highland Park plant, Ford paid his people $5 an hour. And that was a pretty darn good wage at that point. It was double the going rate. But he had to hire 52,000 people to run his plant. Eventually they produced 15,484,000 Model Ts. I have an early 1927 Model T up on the hill over there, and its assembly number or serial number was 14,266,745 or something close to that. December the 16th, 26. But they produced it through May. Then he shut the assembly line down and started producing the Model A's, which you'll see a lot of them up there on the hill. The steering wheel going in is a hard thing to get done right because there's lots of shanking it in. But it looks like Rich has got on it there. We're getting it in place. How are we doing on time?
We are at 8 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, we have 10 minutes to go yet. Let's keep it going though. Pretty quick here, we'll be able to put the left fender on, and the right one takes a little while yet. I'm sorry, the right one goes on first. The right one will go on, but the left one takes a little time because of all the motor connections we have to make on, and the steering column connections to the pitman and such we have to make on the other side. And pretty quick, we'll be doing the radiator. That's important. You gotta have that. Even for a short distance, we like to keep some water in the car. Looks like it needs to come forward just a little bit there. Now, by the way, you see this car is black, and that doesn't have anything to do with what it was when it came out of the factory, probably. But people have heard maybe the saying is attributed to Henry Ford: the customer can have any color as long as it's black. Well, that's not quite true. From 1909 to 1914, you could only get colors, red, green, blue, and gray. And then as they started the assembly line moving faster, it realized there's too much time to change the paint in the vats to do each assembly line. So they made them all black. And that lasted until 1925. But in 26, Chevrolet and other automobile manufacturers were beginning to eat Ford's lunch in terms of market share. So he upgraded his act and made the collars in color. Each model had a different set of colors, and you could only get color in 26 and 27. So that was the one of the evolutions of the Ford. As I said, the only thing that stayed constant was the motor and transmission and drive shaft. There we go with the seats in. We're getting the water put in place pretty quick. How are we doing on time?
We're at 10 minutes and 45 seconds.
I think we're gonna make it. By golly, yes sir. Now we gotta get the top. This is a factory original top that, yes indeed, there we go. Every Model T coming out of the plant that had a pickup truck had the sunshade, yes indeed, yeah. And I got a bridge to sell you if you believe that. Okay, they're carefully pouring that water in the radiator, and the hood goes on the very last thing, and we'll get the motor yeah, one more. Yeah, it has a small battery, the starting battery, and that's already assembled. And we try not to get too much water on the battery as we pour the water in. Okay. Dick Javins and Rick Javins and the team to get this thing going. What's our time?
12 minutes and 5 seconds.
Thank you all. Thank you, crew. Thank you, great guests. Yes, indeed.
Great job, Al. Yeah, we clapped.
There we are. Enjoy the rest of the wonderful Sully Car Show, folks, and thank you for your attention.